I think it's also a little bit of a generational difference, that if we look at people that are often aged 60 and above, they don't have that much experience themselves with multicultural societies. These are, that sometimes in media they are called a little bit, at least over time it has become pejorative. Initially it wasn't considered that, but the baby boomers, so to say, the large post-war, call is the wrong word, but there was definitely this higher birth rate at during some years after the war, and many of these people, they lived through the good years, so to say, of Western Europe, when we had in the 1970s and the early 80s the economy was doing well. These people, they saved up some money, they bought homes, usually in some suburbia somewhere, and technically these homes, as real estate prices have just kept on increasing, they are worth a lot. So, and they don't have to spend that much on housing themselves. So if there is some major, larger crisis, technically they could sell their home, move into a rental somewhere, and have a decent chunk of money on their bank account. The younger generation doesn't have that security, but also those suburbias were quite homogeneous when it comes to the culture that is prevailing in those areas. These younger people often experienced multiculturalism in public schools. In many areas now, in many large cities across Europe, at least today and in recent years, in elementary schools, you often have a 50-50 situation in which you have around 50% of children from their home nation, so to say, and then you have another 50% of children of migrants or children that migrated to the country themselves. So those tensions can be seen in many places. For example, in France, we can see that the main proponent of ending mass immigration, Marine Le Pen, she has the highest support in the age group 18 to 24. So these are some of those changes that you could feel. And now it seems quite obvious that with the conflict going on right now in Gaza, that this would spill over to Europe. Many people seem to be slightly shocked that we didn't expect that a conflict in Gaza would bring out hundreds of thousands of people onto the streets of our cities.
Indeed, and we should have done.
That they would be angry, that they would blame us for not taking their side in the conflict. Just the sheer numbers are surprising to many people, as if they would normally not see them in their daily lives, or they would ascribe opinions to them that those people don't hold.
And this is a dangerous cocktail because it's also mixed with this rather, and I find it very peculiar, view which comes out of, principally out of American universities, but it's spread that somehow Western culture is wrong, it's to blame for all the world's ills, let's pull down statues of Teddy Roosevelt. I mean, the whole thing is just madness. These people, I don't know how they can really so hate their own countries, because they could try and go to these countries. They could go and live in Palestine if they want, or what they think is of Palestine. I mean, most of them probably can't actually identify historic Palestine or present-day Palestinian territory on the map anyway. And you see, but there's this hatred of Western culture which has given the world so much.
Yes.
And millions of people are migrating from other corners of the world to come to the West. What, to join in the general hatred? It just it is nonsense.
Yeah, it is a trend that has been going on since at least the 1960s, with the Cultural Revolution of that time. More and more the young people that attended the universities, that had their worldview shaped by the hippie movement, the peace movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, those were people that were back then attracted to these ideas, talking about a global community, cultural relativism, that no culture or civilization could be considered to be in any way better than any other, that better functioning or more worth preserving. These were people who later grew up, and in the 1970s and early 80s, they were already becoming the professors of the universities. And during the 60s, you had this divide where you had professors that, sure, often they were also left-wing themselves, but they would not weaponize their political views and try to transform the minds of their students and indoctrinate them, so to say. They were, this is a university, I have my views, you can have your views.
Well, that's the whole essence of university, of course.
Yes.
And
yes.
nowadays we have safe spaces. And you're not prepared to engage with me because we disagree. Because we disagree, my view is therefore not to be allowed to be spoken at all. I have to be cancelled, banned, whatever.
Absolutely. And then you have that other view from the professor being shoved down the throat of every student. And anybody who voices dissent or a different opinion gets a failing grade often.
Adam, as usual, the clock in the corner of the room, notwithstanding this exciting discussion, is blinking at me, so we must call a pause there. But fear not, we'll pick it up next time. Alas, yet again, time has caught up with us. But don't worry, we'll continue the story next time on Poland Daily History, when we hope you'll join us. In the meantime, thank you for watching.